This here was a barn, and that there was stables.
Okay.
Stables where cows were in, and oxen and whatever.
Most of us have sat and listened to an elderly relative whose stories flesh out times gone by and bring history to life. How many of us, though, are fortunate enough to have committed those stories to audio or videotape for future generations to enjoy?
I was 15 and a half when I applied for a job in the canteen in the Pitted Baths, which had been opened in 1939, which was a new thing entirely to the village. But it meant that you were serving colliers the day shift when they came in at 6 o'clock, filling their lunch boxes because the rationing was still on. They treated it with respect, very much so. So I was very shy, you know, and I was very short too. And they said when the first day I went there, I remember. A couple of the men were waiting to be served, and they said, "Why don't you put that little girl on a box? We can't see her over the counter." But they were funny, really lovely people.
When Tower Number 1 was still working, there were about 150 horses employed underground, staying underground. Only when there were annual holidays, they were taken out to surface. These were the last few horses that worked underground up tower. For the last 2 years, it was me that took them out to surface on annual holidays. And one of them, a big horse, when he came out to surface, he stood on his hind legs and put his front legs up in the air. The first time that I entered the cage to go on the ground, I was terrified. It felt as if the ground was going from under me. But I ended up working underground from 1948 to 1985 Christmas time. 38 years.
Scared, absolutely scared. And if any man who was in the front line ever tells you he went over the top unscared, he's a damn liar. Every man who went over the top knew the next minute they may be dead.
Come on, over the top. Take your dressing. Never mind him. Take your dressing.
Can't remember going to school for the first time, but what I can remember is being in a schoolroom and little bottles of milk about that size sat on a big fire they had somewhere to warm them. And I just remember that lovely cosy range of fire and these milk bottles warming, and then they were brought round to us. I remember that distinctly.
We had no infant school, and so one had to begin at the girls' school. And I remember being taken there, and this was, dreadful for one's ego, even at 5 years old. And I had to do, 18 months there before I was given to the rough and tumble of the National School for Boys, which was fairly rough. Having come from the girls' school, I had to go there, and that was pretty rough going. We had very stern teachers in that secondary school.
Well, I started work when I was 16, and I first worked for an estate agent. And it was a time when all the men were at the war. And so I had responsibility that I would never have the chance of having at 16.
The miners were granted special privilege. They had meat, so the meat was roasted there, like legs of lamb, pieces of beef, ham, and then we used to make the sandwiches for them, see? Because their ration wouldn't cover all that, would they? Well, I worked. It was hard work, but I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.